class of 2000. There could be an extended thing. The president of the board could call an extra meeting, but it's not likely. This is the last meeting of the class of 2000. Chris Daly was 28 years old when he took office here in 2001. Chris is now 38 and has established himself as a bad boy of the board. Notice him slapping hands back in the background there. I mean, everybody who's fought with Chris Daly, who's embraced him and all that, and everybody's fought with him, even if you've embraced him. Everybody loves Chris Daly, the bad boy. And his new bar, Buck Tavern, which is going to be Daly's Dive, down on Market Street, just west of Van Ness, across the street from Zuni's. Go there or be square. Chris Daly's bar. His fucking booze is too expensive, and bitch about that, please.
Before being elected, continuing his activism while inside City Hall to represent the city's diverse constituents, including homeless people, residential hotel tenants, immigrants, and low-income families. Whereas Supervisor Daly was never afraid to challenge the status quo to improve the lives of everyday people, working in partnership with representatives from labor, neighborhood groups, budget advocacy groups, housing advocacy, and transit justice coalitions to strengthen the progressive movement in San Francisco. Whereas Chris Daly was an effective and prolific legislator, sponsoring and passing more than 150 ordinances, almost 400 resolutions, and 12 charter amendments, including landmark victories around single-room occupancy hotels, building a new Bessie Carmichael School, and a Victoria Manalo Draves Park in the South of Market, preserving a 365 rent unit controlled units in Trinity Plaza, creating the SOMA Stabilization Fund, pushing back against the conversion of rental units into tenants in common, prioritizing the city's surplus properties as affordable housing sites, and securing millions of dollars from the budget for new affordable housing. Whereas Supervisor Daly served on critical regional bodies, including the Trans-Bay Joint Powers Authority, the Bay Area Air Quality Management District, the Metropolitan Transportation Commission, and the Joint Policy Council, to advocate for San Francisco for improved air quality, public transit, and affordable infill housing. And whereas during his term, he was equally committed to being a loving husband to Sarah Lowe Daly and a caring father to Jack and Grace Daly. Let it be resolved that the Board of Supervisors, on behalf of our officers, employees, and the residents of our city, recognizes Supervisor Chris Daly for serving the city with the utmost integrity, intellect, and passion that will be missed by many.
You want anything?
Congratulations, Chris.
The candy bar.
Thank you very much. I'm not sure that all of my colleagues read it before they signed it. We'll see how the vote goes. You know, I wasn't exactly prepared to give a final speech like this at the Board of Supervisors because I don't feel done yet. In case you're not one that comes and watches these deliberations, sometimes you'll see me pacing back and forth on this side of the dais, and I've been doing some of that today, but I'm not actually talking about just the unfinished business of appointing a successor mayor for San Francisco when I say that I'm not yet done, and I should actually change that to we're not yet done. In 2000, 10 years ago, when Sophie and I and the others arrived here at the Board of Supervisors, San Francisco politics was very different. And despite some of the detractors who write columns in some of the San Francisco newspapers, the politics 10 years ago in this building was much, much worse than you can even imagine, and much worse than I could offer up from this seat on the Board of Supervisors. There was not a debate that included all segments of San Francisco. entire swaths of this city were cut out. And at public comment, it was nice to hear the OG from the mission come and talk and actually, probably have a few of us listening to what he had to say. Because 10, 15 years ago, that's not how it went down. The votes were called in, they were done before the meeting started, and if you came to talk, and Abdallah's nodding his head because he was here, it didn't matter. And in the last 10 years, we have opened the doors to City Hall. The homeless people and poor people, folks in residential hotels, immigrants, young people, seniors, renters, who were shut out. And I remember when I was an activist and I would come here with the San Francisco Tenants Union and we would knock on doors on the corridor, they would lock the doors. The ledge aides would lock the doors so that you couldn't even get in the office. That culture of City Hall has changed. It hasn't been just me. I think it was many of us, some of us as electeds, many, many more who were community stakeholders. I would be remiss if I didn't thank people who've been with me along the way, in particular my family. Let me start with my parents, Jack and Gloria, who've taught me so much, who have taught me unconditional love, and I think I didn't fully appreciate it. They were out for weeks on each of my campaigns, and my campaigns were, if you weren't on them, on one side or the other, they were in the trenches, and they were battles, epic battles, in particular the one in '06. But I think I got unconditional love when I realized that it was my dad who was cleaning that toilet in that campaign office every morning at 5 a.m. because it was nasty. And I think that that taught me, finally, unconditional love and what it meant to be truly a great father. My wife, Sarah Lowe, has endured more than any human being should have to endure, not even from me, but from others. And I love her so much, and couldn't have made it this far without her. And my kids, they can only watch this for a few minutes, so they're probably not watching. But if they are, hello to Jack and Grace. And an unrelated note, I know that Commissioner Courtney is down at the Buck Tavern, so shout out to, that's 3 out of 4 days now. He doesn't have to keep coming back. He's in 3 out of 4 days. Jacob and Tony are working down there. But the folks who have really done the work here in City Hall, Raquel Redondiez with me for 8 years. That's a long time. That's probably the equivalent of 4 lifetimes of a legislative assistant. Bill Barnes, Rick Galbraith, Lena Gomes, Tina Tom, now April Veneracion and Tom Jackson. And I didn't mention Supervisor Avalos, who was with me for nearly 4 years in the District 6 Supervisor office. But a short message to those of you in the progressive political camp here in San Francisco. There is honor in our political movement. And the honor is based on acting from a position of conscience, of knowing that we can be better as individuals, but especially as a community and as a society. And that the scourges of poverty and racism and oppression, whether it be sexism and homophobia, that it's not okay. And as long as people around us are suffering, we have work left to do. And it is incumbent upon us not just to try and ease that suffering, but to address the root causes that have created those conditions in the first place. And so 10 years ago, when I talked about affordable housing and why it was so important, and it's still important, and there's still work to be done, I did it because I saw those who were living in squalid conditions. Kids and infants, laid out on the floor of either a studio apartment in the Mission District or a Tenderloin SRO hotel with no bathroom, infested with mice and cockroaches, bed bugs. In San Francisco, California. And if we allow that condition to exist, and if we allow our neighbors and our community to suffer the gun violence and the number of young men, many of them African American, who've been gunned down, while what we see here, more often than not, is folks trying to get a deal so they can build something or have some sort of contract, and that's fine, that's the business of the city. But to do that business without the appreciation and the resolve to address the underlying roots of poverty and oppression is to continue the business as usual that has created injustice. And that injustice cannot be allowed to continue. And 4 years ago, at my last inaugural, I talked about a tale of two San Franciscos. And I know that before being elected, Supervisor Oblos and I actually wrote an op-ed with a similar theme in terms of the budget. But to the extent that we don't continue a passionate fight against injustice is the extent that we condone it, and that we are part of the problem. So to my progressive colleagues, I call on you, and I charge you to continue your fight for the disadvantaged. I can mix a cocktail and serve some grub, and you're invited to join me down at the new digs on the Market Street after this board meeting, and hopefully we can go there with our heads held high, proud of what we've been able to accomplish, and even prouder of what we're going to do here in the city and county of San Francisco. Because if we cannot fight injustice successfully in San Francisco, I'm not sure there's a place in the United States of America that can. Thank you.